Lions TV, this is your post-match analysis video for yesterday's 1-1 draw on the road against Rotherham, all the way up there in Yorkshire, a 7-hour round trip, an overnight stay, and still no win on the road from the Lions. However, a lot of you are saying a much improved performance, and it's taken me a lot of time to reflect on it. As always, let's start by taking a look at the 11 that Gary Rowett picked to start the match. Okay, 6 changes were made from the team that lost 2-1 on the road against Blackburn on Saturday. As I said, we are still winless on the road this season. Not only 6 changes, but also finally a change of formation, a flat back 4, and 2 of our most regular and experienced defenders played a part in us conceding once again early on the road. That aside, I am happy with the 4 at the back, but I thought that would sort of change the dynamic up top. But it was still only 1 striker and a really random front 3, which for me just absolutely didn't work. Let's take a look at the team that did start. It was George Long, kept his place in goal. Flat back 4, Danny McNamara, Sean Hutchinson, Jake Cooper, Murray Wallace, like it. 2 central midfielders, Billy Mitchell and George Saville, with Zion Fleming in a 10. Tyler Bury wide left, Andreas Valasama wide right, and up front as a central striker, Tom Bradshaw. Okay, I thought Danny Mac was really good last night, and some people in my group chat were saying he wasn't. And the reason he was, starting out with him, is that if you're in a flat back 4, I've said this before as well, and no one really notices you're there too much. And I did notice he was there. He was very assured on the ball. Nothing got past him. Anything that Rotherham did get in the first half, which was a lot, was all coming down the left-hand side. If he's a wing-back and he's not really involved in the game, then I understand him. If you're a flat back 4 and you're a full-back and you're not really getting noticed in the game, it's because you're keeping your winger or the person coming at you quiet. And I thought Danny Mac was brilliant last night on that basis. Let's really hope he stays in the team now. The front 3 for me, I like Bradshaw, and I'm going to get on to defend him again in a minute because I've seen some ridiculous comments again on social media. People saying he looks like he's won a competition to be in our team. And he was actually backed by an ex-Millwall striker last night. I had a chat with Gary Alexander at half-time, and he said how much he feels for Bradshaw because he gets 0 service and a load of shit to come with it. He did get service in the second half, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, and I'll get onto that shortly. Look, Bury and Bradshaw could have both done better last night. That's the reality of it. And they didn't because, again, they haven't played any games. And Rowett keeps chopping and changing it, and we're all furious about that. Now he needs to pick a striker and stick with him. I still think we're massively a striker short. We're a striker short, and what's also worrying me is our defenders are getting older now as well. But we're a striker short, in my opinion, a real quality striker, a £5 million striker, a £3 million striker. We haven't got that sort of money, so we've got to go with what we got, and that's why I would have played again 2 up front last night. This 3 up front or 1 up front, it doesn't work for me, and I will keep going back to what I keep saying. Bradshaw and Afobe, it was only last season, scored 24 goals between them. And as I said, Bradshaw hardly played any games, Bury hardly started any games, and Volksamer's the German Rob Hogs. That front 3 didn't work for me. And as I said, 4 at the back, I was actually hoping it would be a solid 2 through the middle. 1 up front for me doesn't work for us, in my opinion, and it just didn't work. 6 changes from Rowett as well. Could have been almost too many changes. I know, what can he do? We're moaning to make changes. He makes changes. We'll say it's too many. But 6 did feel a little bit of a push. No Charlie Creswell in the squad at all. He didn't make the 18, is it, or 16? I don't know. But I see a lot of Leeds fans online not happy about that. Why is he not in? Well, he's not up to this standard of football, Leeds fans, if that's what you're wondering. Yeah, he's not. So maybe he'll go back in January. I think that's probably best for him. I don't feel Millwall's the perfect fit. I'm sure he'll go on to be a great player. And although he is probably our top goal scorer, he cannot defend. He absolutely cannot defend. And he's cost us more goals than he scored this season, without an absolute doubt. But look, Creswell wasn't in the squad, and we start the game, and again, it's not a Gary Rowett problem. Even Kenny put out on the group chat, he's Rowett's biggest critic. It's 2 defenders, stalwart defenders for us as well, long-term servants of the club that have made the fuck up. It actually comes from a good Millwall move. We're in the right-hand corner. Danny Mac and Billy Mitchell, I think, do really well to get us out. Crossfield ball, Murray Wallace travels, loses the ball, instantly releases us, we get caught forward, and then Jake Cooper brings down their man in the box. I always defend Coops. Stonewall penalty, not his greatest game last night. I can't back him in this instance. He didn't complain at all, and it was right in front of us. It's a penalty. Okay, so your goalkeeper should never be expected to save a penalty. As I said in my full-time reaction, luckily I wasn't on the highlights package that went out on the club's YouTube and on the EFL Quest goals or wherever they're showing them these days, because I was literally right behind the goal, and luckily I'm just not in shot, but I actually jumped up and fucking come on, celebrated George Long's save, and it wasn't the save, and I said, oh, he's unlucky there. On reflection, the man, the myth, the legend, I'm not talking about George Long, I'm talking about the fan of the decade, Mick Murphy, you must all know who he is. He actually put a video up of their penalty from behind the goal on his Instagram page. George Long, and I've never said this before in my life, 100% George Long has got to save that penalty. I'm going to put a still on the screen actually now because I can't show the actual footage. The amount of steps he took to the right there, I firstly don't know why the Rotherham striker's gone that way when he must have seen how far Long had travelled. And secondly, what Long does is, look here if you can on Mick's Instagram or on the official highlights, doesn't show it as good. He does a Jordan Archer. He doesn't dive. He steps so far across that goal that if he actually dives and projects himself off his right heel, that ball probably hits him in the chest. But he doesn't dive, he just falls, puts his hands out, he still gets two hands on that, and I think he's tried to hold it, if I'm honest. He hasn't made an action to push it away like that, he's tried to bring it down, and he's ended up just pushing it in the net. And I'm worried now, and this is, yeah, well, we're at the beginning of the side, we're at the goalkeeper, I was going to go on to the game more, but Long is now in the team. I like the idea of Long. I realise, again, he's a player that will need games to get into the swing of things. But the biggest key for a goalkeeper is to be consistent. And he hasn't been that. I thought he could have done better with a Blackpool goal. I'll give him the benefit of that. It's one of them again. They're straight at him. He's thrown both his hands at it. And as I said, a lot has to happen to get to that point for Long to concede that goal. But at Blackburn, he was dangerously inconsistent. Good save 1 minute, flying out the next, not getting near crosses. And it will definitely make your defence, who are already nervous, even more nervous around you, and that's what he's done last night. And the thing is now, why he's going to stay on the team, in my opinion, is Gary Rowett, and this is the biggest issue I've got with Rowett at this point, is Gary Rowett came to the club, and how he was playing football last night, which was Rowett's choice, is miles away, will be the last way that he wants to play football, because he has actually now officially he's run out of ideas, but he's held his hands up in effect without actually saying it, saying, I have no idea how to attack. Because if you watch our kickoffs now, kick-off, everyone runs up pitch. It's like a fucking game of rugby. Pump forward from Long. And Toomey was right. Our sponsor, Regal Elevators, Mr. Crazy Kev, wallpaper guy, call him what you like. He said it right last night. Long is now being used as a weapon to go forward with these long kicks. And Cooper's flicking them on. So our goalkeeper and our centre-back are now Rowett's only ideas, really, in my opinion. That could sound harsh, because we did create chances in the second half, which we'll go on to, of getting up the pitch. And on that basis, I think Long will continue in goal, because we're just relying on 80s fucking Wimbledon style. Boom, up the pitch from the goalkeeper. And that is the last way and the furthest away from the way Rowett would have wanted to play as a manager when he came to this club. So I don't know if he's given up on it, or he just realises that he has no ideas how to attack. He used to blame Neil Harris for that. So Neil Harris's players are not my players. They're his players now. There's no COVID. There's no injuries. I think Ryan Leonard's our only injury. He just can't get him going forward. And this fucking thing with Long, I personally don't mind it, because it does cause upset and aggravation and goalmouth scrambles, which he did last night. Maybe not the most technical football you'll ever see, but at least with his creating chances. And that's what I think now Long will do going forward. Look, we're 1-0 down. And after that, we see this a lot. We've seen this in every game away from home this season. The reason we're conceding early goals, and a lot of them are down to individual errors, but there's got to be more to it. And Rowett is the manager. And it's not right, okay, you've made a mistake, I'm going to take you out. You've made a mistake, I'm going to take you out. Why are we conceding these early goals? They're not switching on. Is the fucking warm-up not right? Because we're so slow starting in every game that we've got a mountain to climb away from home to get back into things. And again, once we do go 1 down or 2 down, usually 1 down, once we go 2 down, he changes it, throws everyone on, and we liven up a bit. But when we're 1 down, we seem punch drunk for a good 10-15 minutes after we concede. And that happened again last night. Rotherham weren't able to capitalise on that, and slowly but surely we did sort of half get back into the game. Tyler Bury's got a score, okay, and I don't know what he was doing, because when you're at school, this is what I likened it like on the drive home this morning with the boys. When you're at school and you're with the cool kids, of course you are, 'cause you're playing football, ball goes over to where the nerds are, and you go, mate, kick the ball back, and one of the nerds tries to kick it back, and they've never kicked a ball in their life. That's how Tyler Bury struck that opportunity last night. His body shape was so wrong, he should have thrown his left foot at it, or he could have wrapped his body round it, opened up his shoulder and curled it in the other corner. but instead he does some weird fucking, don't know what he was doing, but he literally actually kicked the ball like someone who had never kicked a football in their entire life, and he was frustrated, and I do feel for him because, again, he hasn't been starting games, and he knows it was a golden opportunity. You can tell that by how hard he hit the post, that he wanted to take that opportunity to cement his place in the starting 11, but for me, I did put a team up in my preview, and he wasn't in it. Nothing against him, but he's definitely better for me coming off the bench. Not a starter, and also not a striker. So that was our one sort of early opportunity in the first half, and then it seemed to be heading towards a 1-0 half-time, booed off probably, row it out, your football's shit. And then it's an absolute masterpiece from the Bermondsey Bergkamp, and if he carries on like he is, he won't be at the club long. The only thing he hasn't got is pace, and I think people see that and mistake it for he's not quick enough or he's not sharp enough. He has got a moment of magic every time he gets it. Sometimes for me, he over-exuberates, if that's the word, and he tries to go for the magic too often, but I've got absolutely no complaints. Crystal Palace, he did it pre-season. He was unlucky not to score 2 at the den last time out, and this one, obviously the first goal against Blackpool, took its time to get actually officially registered to him, but there's no absolutely doubts about who this goal was to. Opens up his body, quick movement of his feet. He doesn't have to be quick when he can move the ball quickly. Left foot, absolute top being goal of the season contender. And for me, it was worth that trip alone just for that fantastic strike from our man from Amsterdam who fucking hates West Ham. It is the Bermondsey Bergkamp, Zion Fleming, 1-1. And that really lifted the fans, and we went in a lot happier at half-time. On the basis of me saying that we got punch drunk, I do really feel that sucked the life out of Rotherham and their fans and their mini little Lego stadium, which is actually quite a nice stadium, and it was the last one I had to tick off in this division again. So, look, 1-1, we go in at half-time, and as I said, that just not long before half-time, I think Fleming's goal really did give our fans a lift going into the second half. And as we move into the aforementioned second half, the longer it went on, the better we became. And this is where I'm going to speak about Rotherham a bit now. Their new manager, Matt Taylor, was in the dugout. It was a long-winded process for them to get him from Exeter. But, look, he's been there a day or fucking not even 24 hours. So there's no way his instruction could get across to the players. Yes, Rotherham have been doing all right at home. And yes, they have only lost 2 games this season. However, no disrespect to them because we didn't beat them. I'm not having a dig at them. But I think that's as bad as you're going to see Rotherham this season. I think he'll get hold of them now and he'll get them back to near where Paul Warne was. And how difficult to be at home, strong in the air, physical side. But last night, all Rotherham did in the second half was give the ball away. And I see a couple of comments. I retweeted one as well, actually, on Twitter. Comment, but look on my Twitter feed that we was all buzzing in the end last night. And this guy's got it nailed on. We was all buzzing. And realistically, we should have put them to bed. They wasn't good. They're at their weakest point they was going to be in this whole season, in my opinion, Rotherham. Yes, they've only come up from the League One last year. Yes, they are a bit of a yo-yo side, but they have had some good results at home, and I feel that we caught them at their weakest ebb last night, and we still couldn't capitalise. We had chances, again, loads of pump forward from long, forced a few corners. Nothing really, again, majorly clean cut, other than Zion Fleming's free kick, which was a brilliant save from their keeper, tips it onto the bar, goes behind the goal for another corner. Cooper again and Murray Wallace were getting fucking people all over him in the box. And you can see Cooper getting frustrated that he couldn't get on the end of things, especially some of those long kicks forward from long. But like I said, that's Rowett's plan now, is to pump the ball from the goalkeeper to the centre-half who goes up for set pieces. So our goalkeeper and our centre-half, I'll say it again, are pivotal and at the forefront of Rowett's mind for us to create chances in and around the opposition area. But Billy Mitchell was brilliant last night. He kept knocking at the door. I felt some players played really well last night and some were absolutely terrible. There was a little mix in there. But I would encourage Rowett, and I think he will, to pretty much stick with the same side. The only thing that didn't work for me, I think he's going to play long again on Saturday against Middlesbrough. The only thing that didn't work for me was the front three. And I wouldn't play that front three at all. I thought Saville was terrible last night alongside Mitchell. But again, leave them both in for now. And do something with this front three, Gaffer. Don't have a front three, have a front two, and I don't know what to do, but don't play Volkshammer and don't play Bury as one of those strikers. Bradshaw, I'm now going to back him, okay? Again, hasn't had a lot of game time, and one opportunity in the first half where Tyler Bury whizzes it across the face of goal. They're the ones that I always say he thrives on. He was running away from goal, he was unlucky, he did direct it under the attention of the defender just over the bar. But the two he's actually getting buried for by people, neither of which were actually his fault. And I see Steve Morrison say this when he was Cardiff manager a few weeks ago about his strikers missing chances. He said, when you're a striker, you don't worry about missing chances. What you worry about is if, one, you're not getting the service, and two, you're not getting in the positions to score. And Bradshaw absolutely put himself in the positions to score last night. First one, corner comes across. Now, for those who slagged him off, I actually got it right in real time. I'm not saying I always do, but I saw what happened, and I've checked it on the replay about 5 times. Cooper heads it back across goal. Bradshaw pulls and finds himself in space. Does really well. And as Cooper heads it, he actually hits Sean Hutchinson on the back of the head. And it changes the direction of the ball and puts it sort of behind Bradshaw. So he tries to wrap his head around it. Doesn't help he's 5'8" or 5'9". But if it hadn't have hit Hutchinson on the head, then Bradshaw would have just headed that into an empty net. It's actually hit the skipper on the back of the head from Cooper's header. And that's, as effect, has looped up and changed direction. So Bradshaw couldn't wrap his head around it. And then the second one is a hopeful cross shot. It may have been from Mitchell. It may have been from Fleming. I can't remember. But he's had to react really quickly, Bradshaw. Again, he's in and around the 6-yard box of the penalty spot. Again, he throws his body at it, and he couldn't do anything else there. It was whizzed across, going at that sort of angle towards the goal and wide, and he's just thrown his body at it, got a foot on it, and it's just diverted wide. And it's two, I think he's really unlucky on both of them. I wouldn't hold him accountable for either of those. And again, he's getting in the positions. So I'd stick with him. I'll probably stick a phobia up front with him and go with that again on Saturday. But that's another video for another day. So look, the game finishes. It's 1-1. Our fans last night didn't seem too dejected. But on reflection, as I said, I think you've caught Rotherham at their lowest point yesterday. I think they only improved from here, and I don't think that's a good side. They continually give the ball away in the second half and handed it to us on the plate, and we should have killed them off. But we didn't. One, it didn't quite fall for us. I don't usually like to say that. But it definitely didn't fall for Bradshaw in and around that penalty area at points. And, you know, maybe a bit of bad luck as well. But we was, yes, moving in the right direction. But I think that's probably the worst side you'll play away from home this season. And it's now a thing, isn't it? If it wasn't a thing, it's firmly now a thing. And what I'm talking about is that we cannot win away from home. And now we go into Saturday's game at the Den. I don't really feel Rowett's position has changed. I feel a lot of people have given him more slack after last night. But again, for me, we should have killed them off last night. It was a game we needed to win. It was a game he absolutely went out to try and win. Rotherham were shit, on the ropes, no manager or a new manager just come in. Definitely there for the taking, and we didn't capitalise on it. So for me, it is 2 points dropped. I know we always say there's no easy games in this division, but I think that is the easiest opportunity he was going to have away to beat any side this season in our division, and it didn't happen. And it all rides now for me on Saturday. For me, looking at what I've sensed from the crowd last night on social media, the pressure has dropped slightly on Rowett. But I said we go into these 2 games against Blackburn and Rotherham. I said we lose 2-0 to Blackburn. We lost 2-1. I said we draw 0-0 last night. We drew 1-1. I said we get 1 point from 2 away games, which isn't good enough. And that's exactly what's happened. I might have got the scorelines wrong, but I've got everything else right. So for me, it all rests on Saturday. If we do lose that, which I really, listen, I'm really God's honest truth. I hope we don't. I hope it kicks in. We do usually kick in around the Christmas, New Year period and go on some mad run. It happens quite a lot for us. But we've only got sort of 5 games left before we go into this extended international break for the World Cup. And Rowett really needs a couple of results. Middlesbrough this Saturday and Bristol City away the Saturday after. Followed by, I think, difficult away games at Birmingham, home ties against Watford and West Brom in very quick succession. The gaffer needs to get things moving to give himself job security in the international break. And that's your lot for this post-match analysis. I hope you have enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow for a preview. I know it's all running a day late, but I've just literally walked through the door from Yorkshire. So yeah, preview up tomorrow. There'll be score predictions up tomorrow. Live stream from the Den Saturday. Anton Alatorkowski, Lions Lounge Sunday, as well as post-match, usual match day shit. It's all going on. Let's hope that things start to improve. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.